Hello friends, welcome to my channel. Today I'm going to be talking about the summary of the short story titled Yellow Fish by Ambai. Ambai is the pen name of the renowned Tamil author C.S. Lakshmi, and Yellow Fish is a story that was written in Tamil originally as a prose poem and was later translated into English as a short story. So let's begin with the summary. To give you a very brief summary, this story is about a woman who has lost her daughter very soon after giving birth to her, and this story is the journey that is an inner journey of this woman who is going through a variety of emotions at this tragic point in her life. The setting of the story is at the seashore, and this woman is walking around the seashore, and she sees that a few boats are returning from fishing, and as they approach the shore, a group of fisherwomen, they gather towards the shore so that they can help the fishermen get all the fish from the boat and put them into the different containers so that they can take them later on to the market. She describes the entire scene of the seashore in a language that is very gloomy and not very pleasant. So that describes the state of mind that the woman is in, because we understand that there is something that is troubling her, because of which whatever she sees around her is not very appealing or very pleasant. Like for example, she talks about the sea and describes it as an ash gray sea. So instead of using some words like blue green sea or the vast blue sea, she is using the ash gray of the sea. So from that we understand the state of mind of the narrator. As the story progresses, we see that the fishermen are sorting out all their catch and putting the different fish in different cans so that later on they can sell them. While they are sorting out, a yellow fish is taken and tossed around onto the sand by them. So we understand that this fish is not wanted by them, it is discarded, and the narrator also describes it that this fish is not wanted and that's why it is tossed out. But the fish is still alive. We understand that from the mouth of the fish that is gasping for breath. And once the fish is struggling for life, at that point of time in the story, we see that the narrator brings reference to her daughter that was lost, because she describes the struggle of the dying fish with the mouth of her daughter Jalaja, who similarly was struggling for breath and ultimately died because she could not breathe and she could not sustain her life. This entire thing that she witnesses on the seashore brings all the memory of that particular day when the narrator had lost her daughter, and she personifies the mouth of the urn that her husband brought to her later on, after completing all the last rites of their daughter, to the mouth of Jalaja, her daughter, because somehow it reminded her of her own daughter who was whose mouth was not able to breathe. And so this symbol of mouth we see several times in the story. In the beginning we see when the fish is tossed out, it was gasping for breath, and so it was trying to suck the air from the atmosphere and was closing and opening her mouth for that purpose. And then later on we see that the mouth of the urn is again compared to Jalaja's mouth, and when she sees that, the narrator feels so claustrophobic herself that she compels her husband to open the mouth of the urn, which contains nothing but the ashes of her daughter that she has lost. But those ashes are also very precious to her, because after all, they are of someone who was very dear to her and is no more. So from that we understand the gravity of the emotions that she is facing at that moment in the story. And because of that, uh, her reactions are also very extreme. Her vocabulary, her language, is everything is very, very extreme in this entire story. So later on in the story we see that the narrator spots a boy who is going around through the shore, and a point of hope she sees when she sees that boy, because she thinks that he can help her to save that dying yellow fish. So she calls out to him and tells him to take that yellow fish and toss it back into the sea, so that the fish can get back her life. So the boy, since he is not of much age, does not understand what is going on, and he gives her a childish laugh, and he picks up the fish and puts it back into the sea at the crest of a wave. So, and the fish leaps back towards her life. So this is basically what the story is about. And we see that ultimately the woman, she saves the yellowfish because somewhere she feels a sense of completion by doing so, since the incident reminded her of her lost daughter. So she feels that she makes it up by helping that fish who was struggling for life and had no one who could save her. So this story brings her to terms to deal with the realities that are facing her in real time. And since as a human she is very vulnerable, she does her best at that point of time to help a small fish get back her life, because from that she feels that she has done her best that was in her capacity uh, to save something as precious as a life, because she could not do it for someone who was so dear to her. So basically the story is about coming to terms with a loss of something very precious in one's life, and trying to compensate for that with something else that one is capable of. So that is the main theme of the story, and throughout the entire story we see the kind of narrative techniques and the language and the imagery that has been employed by the author is very much in context with the mood of the story. So we come to the end of the story now, And the last few lines, she says, "For a moment it splutters, helpless like a drunk who cannot find the way home. Again it opens its mouth for the water, taking it in. Then a swish of the tail fin, an arrogant leap." So that leap is a leap towards life, to regain life that was almost gone. And once again it swishes its tail and swims forward. So it's basically, the story is about moving forward towards the future and letting go of the past that has happened, that was not very pleasant, and but it still tugs at your heart. But one day you have to let it go. You can't think of the past forever. So this is the main point of the story. You can see the clear yellow for a very long time, then it merges into the blue-gray-white of the sea. So here we can see a very contrasting expression, then it merges into the blue-gray-white of the sea. So this blue-gray-white, because initially in the earlier sentences in the beginning of the story, you see she talks about the sea as an ash-gray sea. But in the last sentence of the story, she talks about the sea as the blue-gray-white of the sea. So blue, gray, white. Somehow the shades are getting lighter. The gloom is getting over. She is getting past the gloom. And there is hope, there is optimism. There is some life that we can still cling to. So that is the main theme of the story. Surviving from one's personal tragedies, getting over them, and moving towards the future. So we have come to the end of the narration. I hope this video was of help to you. Thanks a lot for watching.